Wait till you try these ooey gooey butter tarts, which are a true Canadian classic. Hi, and you're watching Plating It with Wendy, where I share with you recipes which impress with ease. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, share, and comment. And if you enjoy trying out recipes that turn out right every time, you're at the right place. So go ahead, press that subscribe button. And while you're at it, if you hit the bell icon, you'll be the first to get notified every time I upload a new video. Now, let's get started. We're going to start by making the pastry dough for our butter tarts. And for that, we're going to go in with 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. And to that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. And what I've done here is taken some sugar, put it into a mini blender, and ground it to a fine powder. And now let's add 1 tablespoon of salt. We're going to give this a quick whisk so that they all blend together. And now to that, we're going to add 1 cup of cold butter, and I've cut it into small cubes, and we're just going to add it in. We're going in with the good old-fashioned way of making pastry dough by using the pastry blender. But you could always use a food processor or a stand mixer to make this. And now using the blender, we're going to cut the butter so that it gets coated with the all-purpose flour. And we're going to cut it till it becomes pea-sized pieces. What we're looking for are small pieces like this. So we still have some big pieces, so we're going to keep going till we make them small. This is going to help to give us that flaky pastry when it bakes. Okay, now this is looking perfect. So we're going to start adding in the water. Just going to clean on the pastry blender and get all that goodness out. To bring the pastry dough together, we're going to add some ice cold water. And I've got 6 tablespoons of water in that. And to that, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice and 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And now we're going to give this a blend. And by adding the lemon juice and the vanilla to the water, it's going to get evenly distributed in the dough. I'm just going to pour that in. I'm just going to pour half first. Now using the spatula, I'm going to bring the dough together. And I'm going to be very gentle while doing this because I don't want the butter to melt. And I'm going to add the remaining of the water in. You can always add more water if you need to bring the dough together. I'm going to empty this down onto a clean work surface now. And using a bench scraper, I'm going to push it together and bring it to a dough. The dough is coming together very well. Just a few more turns and we should be good. The dough has come together very well. So now we're just going to roll it into a log, wrap it in a plastic wrap, and we're going to refrigerate it for about an hour so that the gluten gets a chance to relax. Can you see all that butter inside the dough? That's what's going to give us that lovely flaky pastry once we bake our butter tarts. It's been about an hour since the dough was in the refrigerator. It's got a time to relax and the butter has firmed up. Just going to dust our work surface with some flour. Make sure it gets a little coating of the flour so it doesn't stick. And now we're going to divide this into 12 bits. So I'm just going to go into halving it, each one into 6 pieces. So that now we're going to make this into 3. And likewise, you're going to do it on the other side. Now you want to work fast here. So we're going to take one of the pieces. Once again, dust on some all-purpose flour and then roll it out into a circle. Now we're going to be going in with the cookie cutter, which is about 4 inches in diameter. We're going to roll this out till it's about 1/4 inch thick. We're going to be using our muffin tray to make the butter tarts. So we're first going to cut out the circle here. And we're going to save this because we can always use it to make some more. And now we're going to place it inside the cups. And you want that little rustic look. You don't really want a smooth look. Just going to press it down a bit at the bottom so that it reaches the bottom. And now we're going to roll the next one. We're going to be very gentle when rolling. You don't want the butter to melt. As I said, you want that little rustic look, so we're looking for those little curves. All our scrap pieces, we're just going to gently put them together, roll them out, and then fill up some more of the cups. We've got 16 tart shells from our pastry dough, and now we're going to refrigerate this for about 15 to 20 minutes so that the gluten once again gets a chance to relax and the butter freezes. In the meantime, we're going to put together the filling. add half a cup of unsalted room temperature butter. And into that we're going to add 3/4 cup of packed dark brown sugar. Now let's go over to the stove and melt the sugar and the butter. I've got the heater medium and we're just going to give it a light stir so that the butter and the sugar both combine and melt. Melting the sugar with the butter helps to distribute it in the mixture and it prevents the sugar from settling at the bottom. Make sure to continuously mix it so that the sugar does not burn. We're going to allow it to cook till it comes to a boil and then we're going to take it off the heat. By that time the sugar would have melted. True to its name, Butter Tarts has butter in the pastry and butter in its filling. So it's come to a boil, now it's time to take it off the heat. We're going to leave that aside to cool, and in the meantime we're going to add 2 large eggs to a measuring jug and we're going to give that a light whisk just to break them up. Now for that authentic Canadian flavor, we're going to go in with half a cup of pure maple syrup. To the filling we're adding sugar, we're adding maple syrup. So to balance the flavors and to prevent any crystallization, we're going to add in 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And now to that, let's add 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract and about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to whisk this all together. Just a gentle whisk. Now we're going to stream in the butter and sugar mixture while stirring the eggs around. Now this is going to give us that lovely ooey gooey filling in our butter tarts. Now we've got our filling ready and I've got half a cup of toasted pecans which I've chopped, and toasting just helps to bring out the sweetness in the nuts and also helps to crisp them up. And we've got 1/4 cup of raisins. Butter tarts come either plain with nuts, with raisin and nuts, or just raisins. So we're going to make a variation of them. The tart shells have got a chance to relax and firm up. So now let's start filling them up. So we're going to go in with the pecans first and we're going to put a few down at the bottom. This is a nice dessert to make if you're having a gathering or a barbecue for Canada Day. And we're going to fill just raisins and some. And now we're going to start pouring in the mixture. And that's the advantage of mixing it in a measuring cup. You can use the spout and just pour it in. And you're going to fill it up about 3/4 full because it's going to start bubbling in the oven. As you fill it, you'll notice that the nuts start rising to the top. And now it's time to pop these into the oven. I've preheated the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, which is approximately 220 degrees Celsius. And we're going to bake them at that temperature for about 10 minutes. Then we're going to lower the temperature to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which is approximately 190 degrees Celsius. And we're going to bake it for another 10 to 15 minutes or until the centers have set. Wow, do you hear that sizzle? Now we have to wait for about 10 to 15 minutes till it cools down before we take them out and taste them. You'll notice that as it cools, the filling is going to settle. The tarts have had enough time to cool down. So now let's start taking them out and putting them on a wire rack. Wow, look how beautiful that looks. Oh my goodness. Look at that. And now it's time to give our butter tarts a taste. And you know, this is my favorite time. Wow, let's go. The pastry has got such a lovely golden color. Wow. Wow, this pastry is so flaky and crisp, and the filling is so warm, just like the Canadian hug. And I love that little crunch that you get from the pecans. I hope you give this recipe a try. So hop onto my website, platingitwithwendy.com, where you will find the full written recipe. Happy Canada Day to all my fellow Canadians. Thanks for watching. See you soon.